Hello Internet, my name's Ashley and welcome to Apt Distraction. In today's video we're going to be starting a new weekly look at upcoming PlayStation releases. This time it's for the week of the 16th to 22nd of January. First up is 2064 Read-Only Memories, available for PlayStation 4, digital only. Neo San Francisco 2064 AD. Your life as a struggling journalist is interrupted by the world's first sapient machine, a ROM, Relationship and Organisational Manager, named Turing. Together, you and the quirky robot will encounter a colourful cast of locals and overcome challenges as you uncover the city's secrets behind the overlapping futures of technology and humanity. It's a long sentence. Can you survive in Neo SF, or will the mystery go unsolved? So, yeah, this one looks quite cool. The eagle-eyed amongst you would have spotted Jim Sterling as one of the voice actors in this. Jim Sterling, one of my favourite YouTubers, a great inspiration of mine, so it's great that he's involved. 16-bit graphic style, looks pretty cool. I mean, it seems to be a lot more popular these days. It's quite in vogue, if you like. This was actually funded by a Kickstarter campaign, which is always good to see successful Kickstarters becoming fully fledged games. So probably one worth checking out if you're a bit more of a retro fan. Next up is Atelier Shelly Plus, Alchemists of the Dusk Sea, available for PlayStation Vita, both digital and retail. Atelier Shelly has returned with additional features on PlayStation Vita. Experience the world of Atelier through the expanded stories of the two Shellys as they meet characters from previous Dusk entries and use alchemy to fulfill their goals in the conclusion to this enchanting Dusk trilogy. So Atelier Shelly Plus, the PlayStation Vita version of the Atelier Shelly game, which was released in 2015. Yeah, don't really know too much about this series, to be honest with you. A quick look on Wikipedia tells me it's the 16th game in the franchise. The PlayStation blog descriptions, as usual, are absolutely terrible for telling you what kind of game it is. I mean, it's pretty evident from the trailer that this is a Japanese RPG. But other than that, there's not really much I can say about it. Dead Effect 2, PlayStation 4, digital only. Dead Effect 2 is a sci-fi horror first-person shooter set aboard a derelict colonization spaceship. Stand up to the challenge as an elite soldier and try to seize control of the monster-infested ship. Dead Effect 2 is a first-person shooter. It's a sequel to Dead Effect, believe it or not. It's actually a port of a mobile game that was released originally on iOS and Android, which might describe the terrible graphics on show in the trailer. Don't get me wrong, graphics aren't everything in the game, but you can clearly see this wasn't built for the PlayStation 4. It's by Badfly Interactive, built on the Unity engine, and I'm just reading random things from Wikipedia now. But in all seriousness, there is enough games on the PlayStation 4 for us not to have to port over mobile games. Just in my opinion, I mean, you may disagree and say there's been some great mobile ports in the past, not that I can think of any. It's just something that doesn't need to happen in my opinion, and smacks of a developer just trying to get more money, which is entirely up to them. But to me, it doesn't need to happen, and it's not indicative of the quality of games you can find on PlayStation 4. Next we have Fate Extel, the Umbral Star, available for both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita at digital and retail. Experience lightning-fast battlefield action across an epic story in the digital realm of what I presume is pronounced Seraph, Se.Ra.Ph, so Seraph. The Holy Grail War is over, but the land's new ruler faces challenges and threats from all sides. Those servants who survived the war now find themselves drawing up tense and unlikely alliances, preparing for a conflict that may tear Seraph apart, or destroy it entirely. Again, another game where the description on PlayStation blog literally tells you nothing. Obviously you can tell from the trailer it's another Japanese, not sure if it's a role-playing game, not sure if it's an action-adventure, maybe a little bit of both. There's no shortage of Japanese-style games on the PlayStation 4, and I suppose this is another one to add to the list. The USP of this one, of course, being that it has the world's worst name for a world ever given in a video game. Seraph, 2 full stops and entirely capital letters. Absolutely terrible. Next we have the Flame in the Flood Complete Edition, PlayStation 4 Digital. The Flame in the Flood Complete Edition is a wilderness survival game in which a girl and her dog travel on foot and by raft down a procedurally generated river, scrounge for resources, craft tools, remedy afflictions, evade the vicious wildlife, and most importantly, stay healthy in a dangerous wilderness. Okay, now this game looks interesting to me. I'm a big fan of roguelikes if they're done well. This game looks unlike anything I've ever seen before. Looks wholly original. You get a real sense of fun just from the trailer. Now, trailers can be deceptive, don't get me wrong, but the soundtrack sounds awesome. The game just looks fun, and I will definitely be checking this one out. Another game that was kickstarted on the website Kickstarter, which is great to see. You hear so many horror stories about Kickstarter projects that it's great to see them when they do come to fruition. I can see why people back this one, definitely. It's got some positive reviews already. It's been on Steam since September, I believe. So yeah, The Flame in the Flood Complete Edition. No doubt the most well-known title on this week's list, Gravity Rush 2, available for PlayStation 4, both digital and retail. Another mind-bending adventure awaits Gravity Queen Cat as a new danger emerges to threaten the fabric of the universe itself. Still searching for clues behind the mystery of her origin, and with the powerful Raven at her side, Cat must master 3 unique gravity attack styles as she takes on enemies and massive bosses. This game, of course, the sequel to the original Gravity Rush, which was released originally as a PlayStation Vita exclusive back in 2012. The remastered edition was released on PlayStation 4 last year. I was a big fan of the original. Bit of a shame that this sequel didn't come out on PlayStation Vita as well. I can see why it didn't, with I think PlayStation 4 sold something like 60 million copies worldwide now. The Vita's probably on about 600,000. So I can understand why they did move it over. A bit of a shame, because like I said, I would have liked to have played it on the PlayStation Vita, but I definitely will be checking this one out. Next up on the list we have Joe's Diner, PlayStation 4 Digital. Somewhere along the venerable Route 7 in the middle of nowhere, you will find Joe's Diner. As an employee working the graveyard shift for the next month, your primary task is to keep the tables clean. No tough challenge at all. Unfortunately, the old diner was built on the site of a burial ground. ... As you can see yourselves, you're currently watching the World's Worst trailer. Quite impressive that we've got 2 World's Worst in the same show this week. Don't really get where this is going. Obviously, the developers really like the flashing light sort of effect, and they have no consideration to people with photosensitive epilepsy. Not sure. This game looks like a generic jump scare, tenner penny horror game. Personally, not going to be grabbing my interest. Quest of Dungeons is a PlayStation 4 digital game. Quest of Dungeons is a turn-based dungeon crawler and a roguelike, featuring a good old 16-bit retro artistic look. An evil Dark Lord has stolen all the light, so your mission is to enter his lair and defeat him. By playing as either a warrior, a wizard, an assassin, or a shaman, you have to traverse dungeons, defeat enemies, and loot everything you can in order to survive. Not the most original of names, Quest of Dungeons, another roguelike and indeed another 16-bit game. Looks quite cliched, but from what I've read about it, it is quite tongue-in-cheek. It's very self-aware, which is not something you can really say about a lot of games. So hopefully there's a hidden layer of humour there if you do decide to check it out. RWBY Grim Eclipse is available for PlayStation 4 Digital. Get ready for intense combat action as you battle Grim across familiar locations of Remnant, including new areas never before seen in the show. Play as Ruby, Vice, Blake and Yang in this character-driven adventure that explores new storylines, new Grim types and a new villain. Of course, RWBY is the Rooster Teeth animated show, available on YouTube and actually also on Netflix, I believe, at least in the UK. Interesting thing about this game is it actually started off as a fan-created game until the guys at Rooster Teeth saw it and they hired the creator and they brought it in-house and made it an official production. To me, game looks awesome. You can see in the background of these battles the world looks a little bit sparse, a little bit bare, but I won't hold that against it. It looks incredible and I'll definitely be checking this one out too. Siegecraft Commander, PlayStation 4 Digital. Play through the Knight campaign, that's Knight with a K, as you battle against the tribal lizard men, or enjoy the groundbreaking PvP combat system that will deliver fast-paced, real-time strategy action or tactical turn-based gameplay. Not quite sure how it can do both there. The objective of each battle is to destroy the opponent's keep. Players can decide to either quickly attack an opponent's base, adopt a more defensive strategy by fortifying their own headquarters, or maintain a balance of offense and defense. So this one to me actually looked like another mobile port, following on from Dead Effect 2 that we saw earlier in the video. Actually, I don't think it is. I couldn't find much information about it online, but despite it looking very Clash of Clans, Clash of Kings-y sort of that generic mobile sort of look, it doesn't appear that it is a mobile game. It's straight for both PlayStation and Xbox One. Not my bag, if I'm honest with you. Funny how the description says you can either play as a real-time strategy or a turn-based strategy game, and that you can either attack or defend, or a mixture of both. So the game is just obviously dripping with options, clearly. Super Magical for the PlayStation Vita is available digital only. Welcome to the incredible world of Super Magical, where bubble popping has never been so much fun. Maybe they haven't come across bubble wrap before. Super Magical is a unique puzzle adventure with a rich world to explore, an award-winning soundtrack, and tons of powers, spells, pets, and mounts to unlock. So, Super Magical, it looks like it's trying to take a tried and tested gameplay sort of formula and bring it up to date. Also looks as if it fails at that. You can't really judge a game by the trailer, despite them wanting us to do so. This game just reminds me of Buster Move 2 that I used to play on my PlayStation 1 about 20 years ago, and if I'm honest with you, that seemed a lot more fun. If I had a choice to go back and play that or play this, I know what I'd choose. In actual fact, most of the games this week make me want to dust off my PlayStation 1 and dig that out instead of purchasing them. So my choice of the week is the Flame in the Flood Complete Edition. Obviously video gaming can be an expensive hobby. Having looked over and looked into all 11 games on the list this week, to me that's the one to spend your money on if you can only buy one. Obviously Gravity Rush 2 looks great. Gravity Rush was great, don't get me wrong, you won't be disappointed with that one either, but I think Flame in the Flood is my choice of the week. So that's our show this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out the other videos on the channel as well. Stay tuned to the channel because this will be a weekly feature going forward, so please subscribe if you have an interest in upcoming PlayStation games on both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. Don't forget you can also follow me on Twitter @AptDistraction, and we'll see you next time.